that's how you control the pair of steers, use of your voice and light use of the whip. So once we got them broke, and it takes about 6 to 8 months to give them the broke jihad wall back. When they get to be about 10 or 11 months old, we castrate or neuter that animal. It is then considered a steer. Once you castrate or cut a bull calf, that hormone then goes to growth. These guys are 12 years old. They have grown since they've been up till the age 10. So from the day they're born till about the age 10, these animals are still growing.
Yeah, because they're...
Again, they're over 6 foot at the shoulder, weigh well over a ton. And that, somebody said, well, how long does that take to get that? 12 years. That's how big they are. We don't really want them much bigger because they're too heavy. So again, the yoke is our harness. The oxen drive with voice command. And a lot of people think that they really understand the command. In other words, they really understand G or ha. And we can kind of prove that that's not true, because I can stand here and ask Dun to G. Dun, G. Swiss have a hard, their attention span's very short because they go to sleep. Dun, G, back up. Back up. Back. Back. Brooksy, give me a hop. Brooks, give me a hop. So what they really understand is the cue, Brooksy, give me a hop, and the direction you want to go. So I moved the way I wanted him to come. I kind of showed him I was going to cue him, and he came this way. Back. Give me a G. Give me a G. Give me a G. Oh. So again, they learn over time that they really don't understand that G and ha. What they understand is the way you move and the way you cue them or the tone of your voice. And that's what controls the pair of steers. This tradition dates back to the Romans. When we settled this country, New England, we settled with oxen, and that tradition, we came over to this country with some Devons and some Durham, which are some of the original breeds of cattle. Got small farms, 10, 15-acre farms, farmed them with a team of oxen or two. Always had a team for sale. The Army actually bought oxen to transport goods from the East Coast to the West. Once the Western migration started in this country, once we decided to go west for more land, more advantages, we loaded everything we owned into a wagon with a couple pair of horses pulling it. Went to a point where they formed up a wagon train, and we were well advised at that point to get rid of the horses and to get oxen. Simply that an ox can make the trek far better than a pair of horses or even 2 pair of horses, simply because they're a two-toed, cloven hoof animal, get down through deeper mud and snow than a horse. Put shoes on each toe of the front feet, and they can get down and swim through deep mud and snow, or a horse's foot's like a pie dish upside down, just compacts everything under it, and they become relatively ineffective when they try to pull with that. The other reason is bovines, 4 stomachs, always chewing their cud. When you had to feed them at night, you turn them loose, they'd eat grass, native grasses, brush, wherever they had to eat to survive and actually thrive on it. A horse you had to carry feed with you, feed him a couple times a day. It was just something else that you had to carry with us to maintain that animal. Third reason, if you lost an ox, broke a leg, he fell over a cliff, whatever, you butchered him out and you ate him. You had beef. The nice thing about oxen are steers. If you start breaking a pair of steers, they get to be a year and a half, 2 years old, and all of a sudden you're tired of them and really don't want to do it anymore. You got beef for the freezer. You haven't wasted a nickel. So then, once you butchered out a steer and ox died on the trip, you'd go get a beef steer out of the beef herd you were hauling, put him in a yoke. This is a rigid piece of equipment, so the broke ox would take the unbroke steer and train him to do work, and you continue on the trip. Once you got out west, the landmass that we went after was much larger than the landmass we left. New England were 10, 15-acre farms versus 100-acre farms out west. An ox becomes ineffective on 100 acres because you simply can't do that much work. Not physically, but the speed of the animal versus the speed of a horse or the speed of a mule. We can best show that by the term acre. Everybody knows what the size of an acre is, and if you don't know, it's the same size as the football field without the end zone. But that term came about as the amount of land you can plow on the longest day of the year, which is June 21st, with a team of oxen and a single beam walking plow. That's all you get done in one day. Take a team of horses or a team of mules and you get 1.5 acres, 2 acres done a day. So you see, horses and mules are much faster than a team of oxen, but in colonial times or even now, if you got a milk cow or two, the milk cow has to have a calf. Once you ever produce milk, you get a chance of getting a bull calf, you got an ox. Oxen always start out as bull calves. So, they're called poor man's power. Once they got out west, found that the landmass was too big for them to farm, they actually broke sod on the original prairie to start it, but once that was over, they were relegated back to the transportation industry, whereas freight companies own probably 300,000 teams of oxen transporting goods from the east coast to the west. So once we got out west, they got delegated back to being the freight business. In New England, they were still used for farming, pulling, anything you can do with a pair of horses, you can do with a pair of steers. So an ox is nothing more than a trained steer. We, 10 months old, we castrate or neuter the animal, and then he becomes a steer. Several steps after he's a steer versus an ox. When he's 10 months old and cut, he becomes a handy steer, which means you can lead him and do a little bit of work with him or obey some commands. Once that his training continues, he becomes a clever steer, which means he can do work, and then when that clever steer becomes a working steer, knows all his commands, and reaches the age of 4 or 5, has a full set of adult teeth, he then becomes an ox. So that's how an ox is made. So an ox is never born. We can make them out of any breed of cattle.
They look for...
We like dairy breeds because they get a little bit taller on legs, a little bit more lift. They can pull just a little bit better than the shorter leg beef animals. All the feed you put into a beef animal goes to the fat and meat. Feed we put in this animal goes to size. So that's just a little bit about oxen. At the fair, they probably eat a bale of hay each day, which is about 40 pounds of hay. They eat about 4 to 6 quarts of grain a day, and they drink about 25 or 30 gallons of water. They live to be 15 to 18, maybe 20 years old if you're lucky. But there's a lot of outside influences that affect the life of an ox. Number one, big pair of cattle like this will always have leg problems, have leg issues. They will get arthritis. Back up. Back. 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 Will have leg issues and feet problems. They have arthritis. They may not be able to get up. That affects the length of their life. They have teeth problems. That also affects the length of their life. First pair of oxen we had lived to be 20 years old. After that, the life, all the ones we had either had some sort of leg problem, and that's what attributed to the animal's death. So this pair are 12. They'll probably live to be 15, 16 years old. That kind of wraps it up, I'd say. A couple things we'd like you to remember. An ox is not a breed, but a steer of any breed that's been trained to do work and obey commands. The term acre came about as the amount of land we can plow on the longest day of the year with a team of oxen and a single beam walking plow. And in 2014, the most used death animal in the world today is still an ox. All your third world countries still use oxen, whether it's India, Asia, wherever. Cuba's actually gone back to oxen in the cane field. Somebody said to me, "Oh, I've never seen oxen that big." My response is, how many brown Swiss steers have you seen over the age of 2? Probably none, because they're all butchered off by the time they're 16 months to 2 years of age. These guys do not mature until they're 8 to 10 years old. And back when they used oxen across the country, they weren't these big cattle. They were 1,500-pound steers across this country, not 2,000, 2,200, 2,600 pound steers. They were lighter cattle, smaller cattle, because the breeds of cattle were small. Breeds of horses were smaller. They were only 2,500, 2,300.